Hey guys, welcome to the webinar. Today we're going to be talking about networking and how to get noticed. In an ever increasingly connected world, people are feeling more disconnected and more invisible than ever. So today Franco and I are going to have a discussion and share some strategies on how to network, how to get noticed, and how to emerge as more of a leader inside your social inside social gatherings, so that you start attracting more attention and meeting more people. Now, before we get into the topic, I'd like to introduce you guys to Franco. Franco is one of my star students. He did personal coaching with me for several years. We met in person in Vancouver. We've known each other for around 2 or 3 years. I'm not sure, but it feels like we've known each other a lot longer because I count him as my true brother and true friend. An interesting thing, also, Franco has coached. Some of you already know him because he held the 5-day Christmas coaching special. And he helped out a lot of guys there and coached a lot of guys there. He is one of the, if not the top guys who is able to articulate the Jati Jones message in a very clear and accurate fashion. So he's like a younger version of me in a way in terms of communicating the message. And the final thing is he's visually impaired, which means he can see, but only at certain distances, at very close distances. And it's kind of what I find cool is that although he's visually impaired, he has a lot more vision than many people. And he just understands things. He sees things a lot more clearly than other people. So it's an honor to have you here, Franco. Thank you for helping me out. And you guys are going to see a lot more of him in the coming months.
Well, thank you. I feel very flattered.
You weren't expecting that huge introduction. All right.
No, I didn't think it was that special.
So let's get into it. So I just wanted everyone to know that you're someone I really respect, and I'm very excited to have a conversation with you. So let's get into this. So what are we going to talk about today?
Yeah. Well, now I think at this point, every guy now knows what to do with women on a theoretical level, right? We all know, we have a decent idea as to what works, what doesn't work. And so at this point, every guy gets the theory of dating. However, the application of it is difficult because it's like, you know about women, but it's so difficult to get in touch with women because women are busy. We have our own schedule. It's so tough. It feels like we're trying to survive in today's social world. And that's what I want to talk about so that the guys can start getting more results. And I have been talking to some of the guys on video. And one of the things that I see time and time again is that their struggle isn't so much about trying to understand women, rather, how do they even get into communication with women? And I know that this is something that we're all dealing with. And it's very difficult. It's tough to figure out, and so I like to shed some light. And I think the cool thing too is that because there's an age difference between us, I think it'd be cool if we can talk about how today's social world is different from your time, from your generation, and just to see where things are heading, in the up and coming
years. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah.
All right. So why don't you just lead the discussion and go ahead? What do you want to talk about first?
So I feel like the when we go out, the one question we ask ourselves is I hope I meet somebody good today. Is today gonna be the day where, and it's not just with women, it's with men too. I hope today I get to meet somebody cool, a friend, a girl. Hope I can get some girl's number, whatever the case may be. And I do ask myself that question, and I ask myself why is this so difficult? And the reason why I notice is because when you ask yourself the question of I hope I meet somebody today, or is today gonna be the day? What happens is that you're in this kind of a follower position where you're reactive to the world. I hope like I hope the outcome is perfect. And so what I would like to say is that I started noticing how if we want to be effective in our uh, networking, it's all about leading, not so much hoping that, you know, the situation says are perfect. And so for me, what I'm going to be doing, and I'm actually going to be starting today, is I decided to start hosting a meetup from meetup.com to create my own group and to be the leader of that, so that naturally everybody who shows up, you know, because since I'm the leader, like I get to be in communication with everybody. Whereas if you just go there as, I wouldn't say a follower, just like another attendee, then you're kind of just like another person there. Whereas if you're the leader, you already have some kind of position. It's a lot easier for you to talk to them because you have to talk to them. It's like, well, this is why I set this up. And instead of like, oh, well, you know, what are you doing? You know, how's your day and all that. For me, it's like, okay, well, we're setting this up here for that reason. And you know, when new people come in, it's like, oh, like, hey, here's my new friend, Mike, who you know you just talked to, right? Like he's like the new guy here, and then you know with every person that comes in, you're just inviting and introducing people, and so for that reason, I feel like you get to talk to more people as a leader, and I think in today's world, it's more necessary to be a leader. Like we need more leaders out in the world, and not just somebody who's looking to, you know, just be another person there. Um, I feel like I couldn't articulate everything I want to say, but I think in the conversation, everything's gonna come out
Yeah,
naturally.
yeah, no, it's I agree that these days it's harder to get the attention of people in general. People are busy, people are consumed with their lives, and this device right here, our little smartphone, is becoming an extension of our bodies, and we don't think of it, but we are cyborgs without knowing it. It's just that the chip is still outside of our bodies, but we're very distracted and
Hmm.
distractible. So I agree that it's smart to have a strategy when you're going out and socializing, where it's kind of like in business. They talk about positioning. You have to position yourself uniquely in the marketplace in order to get attention. Well,
Hmm.
the same is true when you want to meet women, because another thing about women these days is that if a woman is even moderately attractive, she can be like a mini celebrity online on Tinder and on Instagram, getting hundreds or even thousands of ego boosts a day because she has all these followers, all these chumps who are following her and inflating her ego. And now they have all these, you have all these filters. So even if a girl doesn't look even half good in real life, using these apps with these filters, she can make herself look damn good and then get an ego boost, right? So what
Yeah.
I'm seeing is a lot of women are getting having these inflated egos and then going out into the world and then kind of being too stuck up. Like you're not, their hotness is not equal to how stuck up they're being. if,
Hmm.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
if that makes sense, right? If there is a right to be stuck up, a lot of women who don't have a right to be stuck up are even stuck up. So, um, and another thing is that women respond to status. So that's what you're talking about. You're talking about being a
Yeah.
leader, having some status inside of the social circle that you're in, right? Like women are going to notice the guys who are higher status inside of any environment. And so if you're the leader inside of an environment, then it is more likely that women are going to notice you over the next guy.
Yeah. So three important things that I took from there is that, like how you mentioned that I'm visually impaired. So when I go out, because I'm visually impaired, I cannot actually be on my phone because I can't really see my phone. And so that's one of the benefits, because I always look at the positive and the negative, you know. I try to look at the positives more than the negatives. And I've never had that little syndrome of checking my phone every 5 minutes or every 5 seconds because of my visual impairment. So for me, I get to look at other people and see what they're doing. I'm like, whoa, like everybody's really on their phones, and I don't. So it's much easier for me to look out into the world and see that a lot of people are becoming a little more addicted to their phones. And so, um, for sure, I can like see things clear from that perspective. Second thing is that how you're saying how women are getting more noticed, and that's the very reason why I say it's very important to become a leader, is because nowadays women have more options than ever before, and so like the name of the game nowadays is attention. You know, like how like in not in their face can you get, but like um how can you show up to them like a lot easier without them having to go out of the way to find you, right? So because women have options now, as men we have to step up, and it's not to like blame or to cry about it. It's just it's like as Charles Darwin said, the person who can adapt the best to their circumstance is going to be the most likely to survive. And so, as we're moving into the social media age, because attention now is like the commodity, I think it's very important that we step up as leaders. That way, it's a lot easier for us to call attention rather than just being another guy. So, being another guy, shaking hands with people, all that is nice, but that was like 20th century. Okay, so moving into this, 2018, now we have to start adjusting to the new age, which is attention. That's the truth, right? And whether some people call that superficial or not, I mean, because the way I look at it is that in order for you to be a leader, you have to be a giver. Every time you lead, you give something. For example, you're the leader here, and you're the one who's giving all the advice. So there's nothing wrong with being a leader. There's nothing superficial about it. If anything, it's great because you get to give to the people around you, right? So being a leader and being somebody who's an attention grabber, that's gonna be that's the name of the game for the modern age, I feel. And
Yes,
so
I agree.
now you talked about business, and this is the concept that I got. So, with all those like business commercials or business ads you see on YouTube, right? Like Tai Lopez and all that, they always talk about like if you want to do good in business, the whole concept of business is to solve other people's problems, right? So I was thinking about that, and I feel like that could apply to our modern age of socializing because when everybody goes out, whether they're like insecure or they're like the person who looks like the most social, everybody's going out with the question of, like, am I gonna meet somebody cool today, or am I gonna look like the life of the party, or like I hope things go well. I say, since everybody's in that mindset, why not just be the person who like takes care of that problem rather than us to be another person, like another victim of that, and I hope things go well for me. Why not just look into the outside world and say, you know what? I know everybody here secretly is lonely in some way. Everybody's secretly looking to make a new friend. Why don't I just introduce people together? Why don't I just play like little matchmaker? And because when you do that, people are gonna thank you because you made their little dream come true. Um, as I think it's a quote from Zig Ziglar that says, if you want to do well in business, if you take care of enough people's dreams, your dreams suddenly come true. Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Excellent.
so if you go out the mindset of, let me just connect people together, then you're taking care of their dreams. So naturally, they're gonna thank you for that, and then you become like their friend because of that, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah, makes total sense. Total
Yeah.
sense.
So that's the mindset that I'm getting into now is how can I just introduce people together and how can I invite them out to, another event after this event? Um, take care of their social life, and naturally my social life gets taken care of.
Yeah, I think that's an excellent strategy. And another thing I heard, I forgot where I heard it from, but they say that when you introduce two people together, they always remember that you're the one that brought them together. So you're still like number one in their minds, even though
Yeah.
you introduced those two. So it, it's a very powerful effect. You're getting to know a lot of people, and people are also holding you in high esteem, remembering, oh, Franco's the one that introduced us, right? Or, oh, wow, yeah, Franco introduced us. Franco's amazing. You should meet Franco. I love what you said in terms of, everybody standing around hoping to get talked to. Why don't you take the lead, go first, and make the first move, and you talk to people first? That is a very leader thing to do, right? So part of
Yeah.
being a leader, a huge part of being a leader is going first. Don't stand around passively hoping for the world to come to you, but rather go first. Make something happen. Be proactive. Do not be in reaction to life. Be the entity that affects life. So yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying.
And when you meet somebody for the first time, it's not like you have to have like a 20-minute long conversation. It could just be like 1 or 2 minutes, and then after that, you could be like, you know what, like that person over there looks cool. Let's go talk to them. And so naturally, you're gonna start introducing that person to that person. So now you connect the two people together. And the cool thing that I like about introducing people is that it gives off the impression that you already know everybody there. Because there's a saying like, I can't give you something if I don't already have it. So the concept of already introducing two people together, you can only do that if you already know them, right? So as you introduce multiple people together, people are gonna start thinking, damn, this guy like he knows everybody here. He's like the life of the party.
Yeah,
So
exactly. And that gives you status. So again,
yeah,
then you look like the popular guy. Like you said, yeah, you don't have to be. I mean, if you just talk to someone for 2 minutes, now you technically know them, so you can introduce someone else to them now. And yeah, and once you introduce someone to them, it even to them now it makes them feel like they know you better because you not only know them, but you introduce someone else to them. So yeah, it's a great strategy.
yeah. So just like in little summary, it's because everybody's thinking, like I hope I meet somebody nice today. Well, instead of being another person like that, just do that, take care of that for other people. That's really just the concept of that.
Yeah, and I'd like to put it in a different way.
Hmm.
Um, Look at it this way, guys. When you're going into a social environment, there's a saying. There's a saying, love and do what you will. Right? Love and do what you will. What does this saying mean? It simply means that when we are acting out of a loving energy, we cannot err. We cannot do anything wrong. We cannot hurt ourselves. We cannot hurt others. You cannot create error through love. So, socializing, being a popular guy, going and talking to everyone, going first, and like Franco said, making their little dreams come true of, I hope someone will talk to me. What you're doing is you're going in there and spreading love. You are going in there with a giving energy and thinking, okay, how can I take care of everyone in this room? How can I serve everyone in this room? How can I give some love and some joy to everyone in this room? How can I leave everyone in this room a little better than I found them? So when you go in with that loving intention, now you're not going around anymore trying to be cool or hoping to get something from someone. Oh, I'm suddenly hearing my echo.
Yeah, I hear it too.
Um, but rather, you're just going in there to genuinely give. So when you go into a social situation with the genuine intention just to give, then you're going to do very well. You're going to spread some good vibes and you're going to get some good interactions going.
Yeah, that's something I've been thinking a lot about too. Is love and do what you will. Yeah, I see that like in every aspect of life.
Yeah, it's a universal law. It applies to everything.
Hmm.
So, are there any other practical tips that you'd like to share about networking or socializing?
Yeah, so we talked about leadership, and I think another cool thing to do is once you become a leader, once you've built your little tribe, I think it's cool to start becoming friends with other leaders because every other leader has like their own group of friends. And so the more leaders you can become friends with, naturally you're exposing yourself to more networks. So instead of talking to one person, now you're talking to 5 people every time you meet a new leader, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. And you reminded me again of another business saying that says, your network determines your net worth.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
heard that one.
I guess that can also apply to socializing. Your network, the bigger your network, the bigger your net worth of how much, let's say, women you have access to. right?
Mm-hmm.
So a big problem, a big epidemic right now is that guys are going at the world alone. They're going at this woman thing alone. And that is, I'm seeing, especially this year, it's getting very clear to me, probably by far one of the biggest mistakes and causes of why so many men are not getting results with women, or why they're stuck.
Yeah.
Isolation. So what we're talking about today is very important.
Something cool too that I was thinking about recently is that women they judge the people you surround yourself by. They judge your friends. If they look at your friends and they say that your friends are losers, they're gonna think this guy, he's gonna ultimately become a loser in the future. Like he won't become an ambitious guy. He's not gonna have his own business. And so like I just said, like to go out and become friends with other leaders. When a woman sees that your friends are also, alpha male types, you're gonna be like, yeah, this guy, he's on a good path. Like I see a good future with this guy. Your environment is your future. And so if you surround yourself by high quality leader to like men, that's also going to be a good thing for women. When talking to women, like, yeah, these are my friends. They're all badasses. And so, yeah, I think part of it too is just like cutting off people who not necessarily are losers, but who aren't really going anywhere in life. And it's always good to upgrade, your network.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think that women do judge you based on your friends for
Uh-huh.
sure. And
Women
I think
judge
that's
us
something a lot
on,
of guys don't take to notice.
sorry?
I think that's something that a lot of guys don't take into notice is that women are judging you on your friends.
Yeah, I think men uh, really underestimate how much women judge us on everything, from head to toe, and all around us. So women are judging us on everything. I'm not saying that to make you feel insecure, but I am saying that to to get you off your ass. And like Franco said, in this day and age, you got to stand out. So you can't be average anymore if you want above average women. You got to stand out. You got to go above and beyond. You got to show up groomed, as best you can, showing up to life as best you can, hanging out with the best people you can. And a side note, I'll say that sometimes in our lives we have negative people, and maybe they're like very close family members. It's not that we're going to ditch them, but we are going to consciously minimize the time we spend around them, and turn up, increase the amount of time we spend around positive people who are impacting our life positively. So it's not about ditching our family or best friends who we grew up with our whole lives, but maybe minimizing when needed.
Yeah, another thing too is that just because, like, let's say you're climbing up the ladder, right? Just because you do that doesn't mean you have to let them go. You can still invite them, like I've been saying, right? Like you can
Mm-hmm.
still invite them to hang out with your new friends, right?
Yeah.
So if you're becoming friends with more higher quality people, you can be like, hey, like these are people who I've been meeting lately. Do you want to come meet us?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to come out with us?
Yeah.
So you don't necessarily have to kick people to the curb.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's perfect how you said it. Like, you're gonna invite them, and most of them won't come. And that's fine. And some of them will, and that's fine too. But
Yeah.
you invite them. That's your duty. You do that, and then the rest is up to them. A mistake I've seen a lot of people make is that they think they can change their friends or convince their friends and family. If the motivation is not inside of them, it's not going to change. So your job is not to convince. Your job is simply to invite. If they don't come
Mm-hmm.
along, then their destiny is just different than yours, and you need to respect it, just like you want them to respect your path of ambitiousness, or whatever it is.
Yeah,
Ambition.
like yeah, our job is to evolve, right? Like we have to progress in our lives. We have to go after our dreams. If other people are going slow, we can't stop for them. We have to continue with our own path. And so naturally, the more you evolve, you'll start to relate less to people who you used to relate to. Like the people who I used to be good friends with back in high school, I honestly don't have much interest with them anymore because like I'm becoming a better man. I'm becoming like I wouldn't say like I'm full of myself, but I'm getting to know myself better. I know what I want more. I have a better understanding as to what I want for my life than I did back in high school. So naturally, because I'm evolving, other people, they're not evolving as much as they could be, right? So, but there are other people out there who are taking their life serious, and those are going to be my new friends. And so I think that's important too, is to notice that once you start evolving, the people who you used to hang out with won't seem so similar as before. But that's fine, you know.
Yeah,
To each their own.
your circle of friends will change. That's normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, anything else that comes to mind?
Yeah, I think there's something called like first degree, second degree, and third degree connections where it's not just about being friends with the people you talk to directly, but those people will introduce you to another person, right? So let's say you introduce me to somebody. Well, you and I were first degree friends. You introduced me to somebody else, that's a second degree friend, and then that other person introducing me to another friend. So that's like a third degree friend. Um, I think it's important to look at things from a long-term perspective. It's not just like when you go out, right? And you just say, oh, "Damn, I only made one friend today." No, it's not just one friend you made. It's the potential friendships you could make between you and their friends. And so I think it's also important to look at things long term. And yeah, that's even good to do with women. If a woman says no to you, that's still fine, but you can still you can still talk to their friends if she's cool with that, or her friends' friends. And so uh, look at every person as like a new opening door to more possibilities.
I love that.
So
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that. So that's a very mature, long-term view. Yeah, don't just take it as one plus one. It's like, okay, and I like also what you said in regards to women. It's just maybe a woman's not interested in being your lover, but hey, maybe you can turn her into a friend, and then she can be your wingman, right? Or she can
yeah,
introduce you to her six friends, and then so on and so forth. So every every human connection um, is valuable. Here's another thing I just remembered from there's a very old audio called The Psychology of Achievement by Brian Tracy. It's an excellent audio program, and I would even recommend it today. I mean, it's old, it's very old, but I'd even recommend it today. The Psychology of Achievement. And towards the end of that program, he said that studies have shown that around 85% of a person's happiness comes from people. So, not from achievements, not from money, not from whatever, from people. So, when I heard that, I really took heed, and I realized I just heard something really important. It's that, you know, everybody's racing so quickly, trying to get money, trying to get cars, trying to get house and all this stuff, trying to show off and whatnot. Don't forget that the most valuable resource is, relationships, community, friends, people, the person in front of you talking to you. Value people more. People aren't valuing each other enough. I feel like a lot of people just talk to each other and give each other kindness only when they think there's something to gain, and then the second they realize they don't want anything from you anymore, poof, they're gone. So I would encourage you to put a lot more value on your relationships, and and yeah, don't get mixed up. Remember that 85%.
yeah. It was like 2 years ago. I was on YouTube and I saw an interview of Mark Anthony. They were talking about his love life, like are you looking for love, or he says something to the degree of like you can like be the number one singer in the world or whatever the case may be, but if you have no one to come back to, then like what's the point? Like when you come back from the tour and you come back home, it's like what's the point of coming back to an empty house? It's
Yeah,
like you can have it all, but it all means nothing.
yeah, that's boom. That hits the nail on the head. The question
Yeah.
I always ask guys is like, would you rather be a lonely millionaire or have your dream woman and be in the most beautiful, perfect relationship living in a tent? You know, it's like, what's the use of all that if you don't have relationships, if you don't have someone to share it with? I get a lot of guys.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Uh, yeah, I get a lot of guys. I do like I talk to a lot of guys on Skype on the phone, and I get a lot of guys telling me, even like guys in their 30s, 40s, they tell me, you know what, Jad, I have a business, I got money, money's not an issue, I do whatever I want whenever I want, but I'm not happy, like nothing means anything because I don't have anyone to share it with. And that really, maybe you guys when you're younger, you don't doesn't hit you, but life is to be shared.
Hmm.
Yeah, with with
Definitely.
with guys, intimate ways and just with your buddies too, like both ways.
And I still feel like you can have both. Like, I don't think that because you're a millionaire, you have to be lonely. Like, I still think that, if somebody's out there and they're looking to make money, I think it's still possible that you can have
Oh
friendships,
yeah,
right?
I'm not saying that it's not. I'm
Yeah.
just I'm just saying.
It's just it's
Uh,
just a mind type of thing, yeah.
yeah, no, I'm just
But
saying like even
yeah,
if you
yeah,
get to be a millionaire, 85% or more, there's just that number.
yeah,
But most of it is
yeah,
going to come from your relationships.
definitely.
Yeah. There's this article, The Five Regrets of the Dying, where
Yeah, yeah.
a nurse went, she worked in a nursing home and, she was around a lot of old people and a lot of, they die off pretty frequently. And, she asked them, what are your top regrets? And one of the biggest regret they have was that they didn't spend enough time with their loved ones, right? And the end of the day, that's all they talked about, their loved ones, their memories. They didn't talk about their cars, their bank accounts, their achievements. They talked about their loved ones. So that's why I say, be smart and value relationships now. Don't get old and then realize that, you neglected the most important thing.
Yeah, I have a cousin, she told me this story that she had this a college professor, right? Super nice guy, really nice guy. And he would always show up on to school early and greet all the kids and ask them, what can I help you out with your homework? And it was a Monday, and he didn't come. He didn't come there, right? Like he was just people were waiting, like all right, he's gonna be here in the next 5 minutes, next 10 minutes, and he didn't show up, right? Whatever. Next day comes around, they say that they see that he didn't show up again, right? And they're like, that's kind of odd. And the school started getting worried, and so they called him, they reached out to him, he didn't answer. So they went to his house and they found him alone, dead on his bed, and they saw that he didn't have a wife, he didn't have kids, and he died alone. And I mean, like that's like super extreme, right? But it still happens, and so he was like in his 60s and he died alone, like no legacy, no friends, no family, no kids. It's like that's sad, and so that's a terrible way to go. But that's like super straight. I don't want to
Yeah.
scare anybody, but
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, I know, but it's a very good, um, it's real. That's what I think everybody's fighting for these days is a lot of people are feeling lonely, right? It's easy to feel lonely these days because it's so easy to be isolated because again, you can be full of a room and everybody's like this, so you're still alone even though there are people around you where people used to look over their shoulder and say hello. Right? So
I
it's a very serious, it's a new struggle that young people are having that they didn't used to have. Young, I would say, I'm including everyone under, let's say, even 45, even 50. Like just people are having trouble connecting with enough humans.
something else that I like to say too is that because we've been talking about leadership and introducing people together, is that when you go out, I feel like it's important to lead and socialize, but not with the energy of brokenness. Like I'm here trying to help you out. Like I want to introduce you to somebody else. Like the world is lonely and poor us, and this generation is tough. Like because when you do that, when you go in with the energy of brokenness, you spread it out to people, and then it becomes really negative. And like when I go out and I socialize, I'm going there with more of a celebratory kind of an energy. Like, hey, we're young, we're free, There's Clash Cups, So like, because everybody here, including me, like we're all struggling, right? But I still feel like it's good to go out with a positive mentality, not to try to fix anything, but to take things to the next level. So there's a difference between going out, I want to like help people out, and there's a difference between that and then going out with, like everybody here, their life is great, but let's just take things to the next level.
Yeah,
Because
yeah. I mean, socializing needs to be done with a lighthearted, playful attitude.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I don't want people to go out there with like this negative, we're all
yeah,
lonely.
yeah. I know. I think people understand that. Like, yeah, you want to be everything is in the context of you're being playful and lighthearted because that's socializing is basically is a form of play. It's a form of fun. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So a final thing I want to talk about is community and how I'm noticing Franco and I both we look out into the world and we watch patterns of success, right? Because success follows predictable patterns, and one pattern that I want you to really, really really understand is that successful people never succeed alone. When you look at the biographies of successful people, or if you watch successful people such as athletes or businessmen or actors, notice something. They're always surrounded by people. They're always part of some kind of community. They're always part of some kind of network. The story is never, I was completely isolated and completely alone, and I never talked to anyone, and I never asked for anyone's help, and I did it all alone, and look at me, I'm Steve Jobs, or whoever. So, one thing that I'm seeing a lot of men, one error that a lot of you guys are making, and I blame this on YouTube, is that you're going at it alone because you're getting the illusion that you're not alone because you're watching YouTube and you're feeling like you have support. But then when you're off YouTube, you're alone. You're going to the gym alone. You're spending all your days alone. When you're socializing, maybe you're not really involved in community. You're not really involved with people. That is what's holding you back. That's a huge part of what's holding you back. One thing that I found causes a breakthrough with a lot of guys is being part of a community. Like what Franco was saying before, you're the average of the people you hang out with. There's a saying, you're the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most. And for example, in my group coaching program, the success rate is extremely high, extremely high. Basically, every student who attends all the calls and does all the homework and puts in the proper effort is getting results with women, getting unstuck after being stuck for years, getting unstuck in a matter of months. And a big part of the reason why these guys are getting breakthroughs is because they are joining a community. They're surrounding themselves with winners. They are not going at it alone. So if you've been stuck for a long time, it's time to start networking. Network with us, network with other successful people in your life. Because if we're placing bets, I will bet against you if you're going at it alone. I will bet against you and I will win because I've seen it over and over again. So, yeah, I don't know. Anything you want to add to that, Franco? I just went on a rant.
No, no. Um, I believe that everything that we want is in the hands of other people. Like whether it's women or business, like any dream that you have, the only way you're gonna accomplish that is there's somebody on the other side of that. You want to have a dating life, well, you need women for that. If you want support, you need fellow men for that. If you want to do business, you need business partners. Like anything that you want is in the hands of other people. I mean, technically it's in our hands, but like, realistically speaking, Like you have to get social skills down for sure, and having a community is like it's critical. Um, yeah, like you can't go out the world alone. It's impossible.
Yeah, it's just like an incomplete mathematical formula. It's like if you want to get the right answer at the end, x plus y plus z equals whatever, right? But
Mhm.
if you guys are keeping out this socializing part, this networking part, this community part where you're not part of something, you're just alone. That's why no matter how hard you try, you're going to hit up against that invisible wall. And then you're going to blame yourself, thinking, I'm not smart enough, I'm not courageous enough, I'm not this enough, I'm not that enough. No, it's not that you're not enough, it's that you're using an incomplete strategy. Incomplete strategy. So if you've been hitting up against the wall over and over and you're sick of this and you want to get this woman thing handled once and for all, maybe in other areas of life you're struggling, but if you're struggling with women and you want to get it handled, I invite you to join our Brothers Elite community. Join my 12-week man transformation experience. We will embrace you inside of our community. We will support you and give you the breakthrough that you've been looking for. If you're interested, Franco is gonna take some free calls where he'll tell you more about it. It's only for guys 26 and over. You got to be working full time, and you have to be able to socialize 2 days or more per week. So if you're 26 or over, working full time, and able to go out 2 or more days a week, then contact Franco, and he'll tell you more about it. He's not going to sell you anything. I told you he's not allowed to sell you anything. He'll just have a conversation with you. As well, he's very good at coaching. Maybe he'll point out some blind spots as well while he's on the phone with you. He's very good at that. So if you want to get in contact with Franco, email me to support@jatijones.com, and then I will connect you. All right? And we'd love to have you in the Brothers Elite community. Okay, so that was my pitch. Anything else you wanna say or you wanna add to what we talked about?
Yeah, that's uh, just typically like we seem to still hold on to old school methods of doing things, and that like cold approaching or just trying to go out the world alone. Like we got to adapt to the new generation, and the new generation requires networking. Like we can't succeed the same way our fathers or grandfathers succeed. Like those days are gone. Like they're long gone, right? Networking is the new way of the generation, and we have to adapt. We have to find community. Um, we have to find other people who are already doing this before we have, and so uh, we need to adapt, and we need to join communities, as you said. And
Yeah,
yeah, like just I don't know, maybe succeeding before work because everybody used to live in small towns. But in today's new age of dating and socializing, like we gotta like adapt. We need to do things on a higher level, and that's what community is for.
yeah, and what I will say is like you're saying like the old way doesn't work. We have to go the new way, and here's why our parents' generation and before, the further we go back, the easier it was. Is that people didn't used to work as much. People had a lot more free time. People used to hang out a lot more, right? So now what we're doing, and also because the parents were home more, they had more time to raise us. But now, since both parents are working, there isn't that much time to socialize. People are not as social as they used to be. At a younger age, people go work, so you don't have that vast amount of young people hanging out anymore like they used to. And so what we need to do now is we need to manufacture that for ourselves. And that's why we need to join communities. We need like we joined communities. You need to join communities online and offline to supplement the absence of guidance from your forefathers, and to supplement what used to be natural events and social situations where you could socialize. Now we have to go out and intentionally create that. Whereas before it was kind of just fell into our laps.
Yeah, and I say that because I don't know, for some reason us guys, we kind of I don't know, like we don't really think of like the new way of doing things. Like women are much more attuned to like the reality of things. Like I feel like women have a better ability to adapt and to see, because like we tend to think things that superficial, like oh, I don't need to do that, or that doesn't apply to me, or I'm a guy, I can do it on my own. But I say that because a lot of guys have like that mentality where they think things are still like 50 years ago, and it's not. And so it's just a little caution, to tell the guys, that we need to start doing things the modern way.
Yeah,
And so,
do
yeah,
things together.
yeah,
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 I
for
think
sure.
that's like a good way to wrap it up. Is like, don't do anything alone. All right,
No,
and other than go to the bathroom. you know,
for
do things
sure.
with people, and that's kind of like a guaranteed formula for success. So, um, I don't want to keep people too long. I think we're at a good like 46 minutes now. So, uh, thank you guys for watching. Thank you very much, Franco, for co-hosting this with me. And we welcome you with open arms into the Brothers Elite private community that only contains men who are at a high level. So if you're interested, email us to support@jatjones.com and we'll see if we can get you in. Take care. Thank you, Franco, and we'll see you soon.